welcome to the wonderful circuit of Silverstone in the UK. The fifth round of the Ferrari Challenge Europe Series. Trofeo Pirelli arrives here on the UK shores, or arrived here on the UK shores yesterday for race one. Today, Trofeo Pirelli race two, about to take to the track some 5.89 kilometers of tarmac around this historic and wonderful circuit of Silverstone. Marietta Evans is down there on the hallowed tarmac.
After a race yesterday that delivered plenty of drama, we are bracing for more thrills in Trofeo Pirelli race 2. At least if what we saw in qualifying this morning is anything to go by. It was so close between Doriane, who is on pole, she's right behind me, and P2 for the Trofeo Pirelli race, Luca Nurmi. Let's quickly hear from Luca now. Luca, what does it mean for you to race here at Silverstone? How are you feeling ahead of this race?
Yeah, it's a legendary track, and since I was a little kid, I've been watching Formula 1 here and hoping to beat her, and now I'm here. Yeah, I'm super happy to drive here. It's a nice track.
So exciting this morning between you and Doriane. Are you ready to go after her?
Yeah, surely I am. We made a big setup change from yesterday, and I'm quite sure that it will help.
Thanks, good luck.
Thank you.
Luca Nurmi then, a wonderful driver, really quick, as we saw in qualifying and actually saw in the race yesterday as well, where he finished P3. He was on the podium, and Luca Nurmi will be hoping to try and vault himself up to the top step of the podium. But to do that, he's got to get by the really ferociously fast Doriane and ferociously consistent Doriane as well. Also in the mix is John Vortique, and of course we haven't even spoken about the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers yet, so let's hear more from Marietta now.
Now, the man in P2 for Trofeo Pirelli AM, Ange Bardi, needs to only get 3 more points than Marco Pulcini, who is on pole, to clinch the title in his class today. And your first opportunity to seal the title today, how are you feeling?
Today is an important race. I will do my best, and as usual, maybe we win, maybe we don't know what else. We will see at the end of the race.
Thanks, good luck.
Ange Bardi then focused on doing everything he can, and he has got to bank the points. He could theoretically seal the championship today. Unusually for Ange, he's not on pole position because Marco Pulcini has done that in Trofeo Pirelli AM. He goes from P4 on the grid, but it's a pole position within class. I remind you, there are 2 classes within the Ferrari Challenge. The drivers with the red sun strip across the top of the windscreen, they're Pirelli drivers. Those with the white strips across the across the top of the windscreen are Pirelli AM drivers. More from Marietta now.
Let's quickly hear from Marco Pulcini. Marco, starting from pole in your class, how do you see your chances of beating Ange Bardi today?
Well, I mean, he's a tough competitor, especially for the very long experience he has in racing. But as usual, we give it everything we have, and you know, we try our best. So let's see.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Drives for Altea Motors. I was having a good chat with Marco just ahead of the start of the race. His driver coach is a hugely experienced and successful driver as well. That's Matteo Cressoni. As some of the young motorsport fans are enjoying chasing around on the many wide open green spaces here at Silverstone. As in the final stages of preparation, there is Doriane ahead of this race. Doriane Penn, then, whose track record is remarkable. She has taken 5 wins in a row to add to the 2 that she had at the opening part of the season. That looks like Jacques Diver to me. So Jacques and Nicole then. Jacques Diver, European, former Ferrari Challenge European driver. Nice to see you here, Jacques. And yes, so Doriane has done very, very well. But Ange Bardi, actually, in terms of win rate, Nico, has been even better than Doriane Penn because 8 wins, I believe it is, for Ange Bardi. And this is where we're at. Silverstone, follow us on @Ferrari Races, please, if you will. We'd love you to be part of the Ferrari family. And the weather conditions, well, there was some dark cloud around earlier on. It seems to have disappeared now off in another direction, thank goodness. And there we can see the right-hand side of your screen. The air temperature is 15 degrees. The track temperature is 20 degrees. 6 km/h winds. And there you can see the power plant that propels these 488 Challenge Evo cars around this Silverstone circuit. What a sight that is.
Hi, my name's Andrew Gilbert. I'm a pilot with Kessel Racing in the Ferrari Challenge. We're at my home race in Silverstone, so let's go and discover the circuit. Okay, so here we are on the Silverstone circuit at probably one of the most challenging parts of the circuit, Maggots and Becketts, and we're going to go down and have a closer look at the 2 corners. So we arrive here in 6th gear, 240 kilometers an hour. It's a fast corner. We're looking for the braking point. Typically we're trying to brake at the edge of the curb, throwing it into the following corner. This is a really tricky part of the track because all of these corners are interlinked, so you have to get this right. Okay, so here we are at Becketts, another fast corner. We arrive here in 5th gear. Still a bit of a challenge, you know, we've got a minimal amount of brake here. We've got to get the position of the car out and the exit of the corner to make sure that we're positioned correctly and not to compromise the following straight, because again we can lose time down the hanger straight. And so yeah, there we go. That's the magic of Silverstone and Maggots and Becketts.
Cheers, Andrew. That's very good of you. As we can see already, a car going off into the pit lane. Just trying to pick out who that car is. I think it's Jack Brown, Nico. So Jack Brown into the pit lane, the anniversary year of the Ferrari Challenge, as we've celebrated all the fantastic cars that have made up the One Make Series. And let's celebrate the 458 Evo, which was a magnificent addition to the history of the Ferrari Challenge. And just yesterday, Stefano Guy took his very car out on track here at Silverstone, and Stefano really enjoying the time out there in his former 458 Evo, engineered of course by Rosso Corsa. And the 458 Evo car is just one of the cars that has formed the glittering history of the 30 years of the Ferrari Challenge. And the Richard Mille safety car ready to lead the cars away on their formation lap. Look at the calendar for next year now. What a calendar to look forward to in 2023 as we look forward to our Trofeo Pirelli race to come. We'll bring you the grid in full in just a couple of moments. And as I said, I thought we saw the all-yellow car of Jack Brown going down into the pit lane. Stand by. Stand by to get ready to go racing then. All the cars there you can see weaving from side to side, including David Gosner, who is on the grid. Doriane Penn goes from P1, Luca Nurmi goes from P2. They are the occupiers of row 1. Then we find John Vortique and Marco Pulcini for Altea Motors, who bested Ange Bardi into pole position for Trofeo Pirelli Am. There's Ange Bardi. Alongside should be Jack Brown. Nico alongside me is keeping an eye on everything out there on track, because I don't think Jack Brown is out there. I think we saw his car into the pit lane. It's Nicola Rossi and Alessandro Cozzi on row 4, P7 and P8 respectively for the Kessel and Formula drivers. Then it's Arno Dahlmeier and Lucky Kira from the UK series. In fact, he became two-time Trofeo Pirelli champion yesterday in the UK series. Angelo Fontana and Andrew Gilbert are on the 6th row of the grid. It's P11 and P12 as we continue our quest through the grid of cars with Omar Jackson and David Gosner then going from P13 and P14. 7 rows of Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli cars then ready to do battle. Now the safety car will pick the cars up here. They have to go side by side in grid formation, and the safety car will peel off into the pit lane, and assuming that race control are happy with the format of the cars as they cross the start-finish line, we will go racing, Nico.
Indeed, and it really looks like Jack Brown's car is not part of the crocodile behind the safety car. That means the space next to Ange Bardi will stay empty. Nobody can make up position, so they will be in their normal grid position. Just one place will be empty in that grid, and that may be an advantage for Ange Bardi, but it may also be an advantage for Alessandro Cozzi, because he has an empty space ahead of him in which he can try and evolve and push forward. So it's going to be interesting how that start will go.
Theoretically, whatever the issue was with Jack Brown's car on the grid, he's been pushed into the pit lane. He could start from the pit lane if they were able to solve it. We will see. We're on board with Omar Jackson then for Trofeo Pirelli Am. Great shot of Omar hot at work inside the 488 Challenge Evo car. And safety car peels off into the pit lane at some pace, I have to say. And of course the pit lane entry shortcuts the turns 16, 17 and 18. And this is where we find the cars now. It's going to be a drag race for Luca Nurmi and for Doriane Penn. History would suggest that Doriane Penn is a very good starter. Luca Nurmi knows that, and they are champing at the bit to go racing. Stand by. It's Trofeo Pirelli live from Silverstone. Textbook start from Doriane Penn, then heading in towards turn number 1. Luca Nurmi relegated to P2. Ange Bardi in strife, I believe.
Nicola Rossi, I believe that is.
Indeed, Nicola Rossi. And a couple of cars there in strife. Ange Bardi was one of those. Now, he had the opportunity potentially to seal the Trofeo Pirelli Am race today, and another car has gone around, and that is the number 13 car of Arno Dahlmeier for Scuderia Nicky Iron Links. So all sorts of strife going through the Abbey and Farm turns. And here we can see Luca Nurmi, who now is having to focus his attention on defending from John Vortique rather than attacking Doriane Penn. So we think the cars have all settled themselves. Nicola Rossi and Arno Dahlmeier, and unfortunately it looks like it's going to be a retirement for Nicola Rossi. Our timing screen is intimating that Jack Brown didn't start from the pit lane, I don't think. And here's Doriane Penn then leading the race on the national pit straight now. There's the number 80 car of Angelo Fontana making his debut in the Ferrari Challenge this weekend. And Doriane Penn already stretching her legs over Luca Nurmi as for the first time of asking into Maggots and then Beckett's. So this part of the Silverstone circuit that was so articulately described by Andrew Gilbert earlier on in our program. Look at the top 4, how they've broken away from the rest of the pack here. Part of that is because of the damage and the incidents that were going on, and I think that Ange Bard has got an ill-performing car now, or has he? Because he's trying to make up places. Now, I thought he was going to lose that to Omar Jackson, but running on board with Omar Jackson now, actually, probably what I'm saying is incorrect. Looks like Ange Bard is okay, and probably he just took avoiding action, and now he's got the bit between the teeth to try and get on terms with Marco Pulcini. That's a lovely onboard shot from the 488 Challenge Evo car here. So we think those that involved were Arnaud Dalmeyer and Nicola Rossi, and everyone else seems to be all okay. Might be a little bit of debris on the track at turns 1, 2, and 3, but other than that, and there is Ange Bardi, so I take back what I was saying. It obviously seems to be all okay now. Lucky Kira, as I say, he won the UK Trofeo Pirelli Championship yesterday, elected to race in both Trofeo Pirelli in the UK and indeed the European Trofeo Pirelli Am for this weekend only, so getting lots of racing, as we can see Nicola Rossi walking away from his stricken car, as Ange Bardi now has got Marco Pulcini ahead of him. So Ange Bard has done a very, very good job in recovering, Nico.
Yeah, definitely. Almost all the field of the M drivers was slowed down by that incident, and that meant that he is still back into P2 in class, and Marco Pulcini will be under pressure to keep that distance and keep Ange Bardi behind him, which he may have to do to keep the championship open, at least theoretically, for the time being. Doriane Pin, 1 second advantage currently over Luconomi, who did set the first sector purple, so a very, very good showing from the young Finn. The question is, can he make up the gap that Doriane Pin has already built? It's going to be interesting, but it's going to be tough for him.
Yeah, I agree with you. So here's a replay of the start then. As the cars crossed the timing line, you could see that various drivers were looking at where they could go. And Nicola Rossi just getting tagged by Arnaud Dalmeyer before they'd even made it into turn 1, Nico.
Yeah.
So as you can see, Arnaud Dalmeyer taking a look at the inside and then just caught the left-hand rear wing of Nicola Rossi, sending that car into a spin. Good avoiding action by everybody else, and the reactions here inside the garage, you can see. That was just a really, really unfortunate incident. Arnaud, as he swapped from one side to the other, just misjudging.
Yeah, just a few centimeters too far ahead, and that unfortunately caused the rest of the incident. And Ange Bardi has set the fastest time in the AMS, trying to come back at Marco Pulcini. He's already closing down that gap.
And Lucky Kira is on Omar Jackson here. So that is for P4 and 5 in the AMS at the moment. Great onboard shot. I really, really love this, giving us some interesting images from the Lucky Kira car. So Doriane Pin with 1.782 seconds to the advantage over Luca Nurmi. And here we can go to our two-box images here. So what you're looking at is the panel work then inside the car of Omar Jackson, with Lucky Kira doing the chasing down. Lucky Kira will show his face to the inside of Omar Jackson at various points in the circuit. They're on the national pit straight now, heading towards Cops. And there you could see it. Great shot of Lucky Kira just showing his face to the inside of Omar Jackson. Omar has missed a couple of the rounds. It's really good to have him back on track again. And Lucky Kira really pushing Omar Jackson hard. Lucky Kira, a busy man, because no sooner has he finished this race, he'll be back out there on track to race in the Ferrari Challenge UK, which is also racing here at Silverstone this weekend. So, interestingly, David Gosner is chasing down Alessandro Cozzi behind them as well. Here comes Lucky Kira on the inside of Omar Jackson. And Lucky Kira then, I think he should go through here, but Omar Jackson's carrying a lot of momentum here, loving this two-box shot this time around. Lucky now chose to look at a different opportunity, because that first one didn't work. Huge fight going on between those Trofeo Pirelli Am drivers. David Gosner right on the back of Alessandro Cozzi as well. Meantime, Doriane Pin just building and building and building that margin between herself and Luca Nurmi. Here's Lucky Kira on the inside, but not quite close enough. And Omar Jackson carrying plenty of speed and able to hold on to that. And David Gosner really pushing Alessandro Cozzi now. So there is the car of Lucky Kira. And here is the car of David Gosner and Alessandro Cozzi. So for Trofeo Pirelli, it is Doriane Penn from Luca Nurmi and John Mortigue. Then for the AM drivers, Marco Pulcini and Ange Bardi. And then it is Angelo Fontana in P3. There is Ange Bardi, who is chasing down Marco Pulcini now. There's around about 4 tenths between the two of them. The Altea Motors now in the Live Drivers' Championship. If it stayed this way, Nico, Ange Bardi would have a 65-point advantage over Marco Pulcini, which I don't think would be enough for him to seal the championship, not with the races that we've got remaining.
Not quite, because there would be just enough for fastest laps and pole positions. If those two positions are reversed, that would be the moment where Ange Bardi would have enough of a gap, because that would take the points away from Marco Pulcini and give more to Ange Bardi. Because we've got 60 points for the races.
Yep.
4 more points for fastest lap, 4 more points for pole position, so that's more than 65. But reverse the roles, it's on.
It's on.
We think.
So the pressure is really going to be on the SF Côte d'Azur driver now, isn't it? Because he knows that primarily, providing he can get by Marco Pulcini.
True, on the other hand, it's a good pressure to have if you've got 4 more races in hand to get 5 points or so. So, yeah, but obviously Ange Bardi, we know he's going to win. He wants to win. No, he's not going to win. He wants to win, and he's going to want to seal it today.
Yes. Yeah, the sooner you've banked it and put it in the bag, the better. So Marco Pulcini, though, for Altea Motors, is not yielding at the moment to the pressure being mounted on him by Ange Bardi. So Ange, then, who has had a rich vein of success in the Ferrari Challenge over many, many years, Nico. Think it was in the... Oh, as he dives to the inside now of Marco Pulcini. You can see him flashing his lights there. And the reason they flash the lights is just to get the concentration broken for a moment from the driver that you're attacking. That's all it is. Certainly there's no way that Marco Pulcini is going to pull over, indicate left and let Ange through, but Ange is right on him now. So this is for P1 in Trofeo Pirelli AM between Ange Bardi and Marco Pulcini. Marco Pulcini then taking a nice line through Cop's turn, and Ange Bardi not able to do anything there. My opinion is, Nico, the overtake attempt is going to come after the Beckett's complex. Ange will try and get right onto the back of Marco Pulcini and try and execute a move along the hanger straight and through Stowe. Let's see if I've predicted this correctly. Probably not. Here comes Ange Bardi then through the final turn and now onto the hanger straight. Is he going to be able to get close enough to Marco Pulcini? He'll try and send it to the inside. No, he's not as close as I thought he was going to be. So here is the Altea Motors of Marco Pulcini car. And Ange Bardi pushing him. We're about the first third of the race done and dusted. And this, by far and away, is the most exciting fight going on in the pack of cars at the moment. And it is the race that's on for the lead of the Trofeo Pirelli AM race and potentially the championship as well. Not the lead for the championship, the ceiling of the said championship, where Ange Bardi on the back of a huge, huge run of success. If he has not won the race, then he's been P5, and that has only happened once, and that came in the second race in Hungary, Budapest in Hungary. There you go. Lucky Kira has still not been able to find a way past Omar Jackson for now. And there you can see the front of Lucky Kira's car from being on board with Omar Jackson. You can feel the 488 power plant propelling these cars, and this is how close Lucky Kira is getting. And Omar, well, he holding on to his line. The two went side by side. This in replay. They did have a little tap, little love tap between the two of them. and then the door was quite firmly closed. So this is just how close they are getting in their fight between Lucky Kira and Omar Jackson. And Nico, it doesn't get much closer than that in this wonderful racing series.
No, that was really close and really great camera work there.
And now Lucky Kira has got by Omar Jackson.
Yeah, and I'm sure we will get a replay on that as we're on that battle, just as we took a moment to look at some of the most beautiful shots of that battle. The battle actually turned and Lucky Kira got the move done, and that puts him up into P4, and the two of them running around 4.4 seconds behind Angelo Fontana for the last podium place. So Lucky Kira now being released. He's certainly going to try and want to get that red car, which just came into shot for a moment, and try to wrestle that P3 place away.
Omar Jackson now under significant pressure from David Gosner. David Gosner in the red and gold liveried number 50 car that you can see right behind Omar Jackson. Now David Gosner taking a late move to the inside, and Omar Jackson is able to close the door. So a valiant effort from David Gosner to overtake on the second from last turn going into the start finish straight. But Omar Jackson, as is his right with track position, right royally closed the door. Doriane Penn is leading by 3.5 seconds over Luca Nurmi. And here is David Gosner. And Omar Jackson having to defend for all he's worth. David Gosner looking even more perhaps lively than Lucky Kira did in terms of trying to provoke a mistake from Omar Jackson. So here is Gosner. Look at these two cars. If they were welded together, they could not be closer. Here's David Gosner on the inside. Omar Jackson is able to carry more speed, though he has the momentum, but David Gosner sticks to the inside like glue. Omar Jackson now, because the inside for David Gosner quickly becomes the outside. There's a little tap between the two of them, but David Gosner goes through. So he had to be really, really brave and confident in the grip that would be afforded to him around the outside of that turn, because that's where he made the overtake stick. So David Gosner goes ahead of Omar Jackson and puts the chase on now to Lucky Kira. Meantime, Marco Pulcini continues to lead Ange Bardi, and there is David Gosner. You can see that he has really, really picked up the pace. Now he's been released from Omar Jackson, and Ange Bardi for the moment is just wondering whether he's going to come back at Marco Pulcini towards the end of the race, because he's dropped away a little bit from Marco Pulcini right now. There's been a final warning issued with regards to track limits to Luca Nurmi, who is running in P2 at the moment. So there you can see that on screen. Car number 66 exceeding the track limits at turn 9. It's the final warning. And Nico, if you receive a final warning and then you exceed the track limits again, you pick up a penalty?
Indeed, 5-second penalty would be the consequence of that, and as Luca Nurmi is only 7/10 or a little bit over a second now at last split ahead of John Boutique, that would reverse the positions for P2 and 3. Doriane Pin, she's not as dominant as she was in other races, and I say that with all due respect because she's 3.6 seconds up the road, so very, very dominant still. And we also get a warning for Ange Bardi, who gets a final warning for track limits as well. So he has to be careful if he wants to seal the championship now. A penalty is the last thing that he can afford. He has a lot of cushion behind him, so it's not troubling him in terms of his P2 position. But if he wants to get P1, he has to avoid a penalty for sure.
Yes, and of course, often the track limits can be exceeded in overtaking phases, so he needs to be very, very careful when he mounts his attack on Marco Pulcini, which I feel sure within the 14 minutes of the race remaining will happen. Doriane Penn then, Luca Nurmi and John Wartique. Another car that's being warned about track limits is Omar Jackson, who is running down there P9 overall, and that's P7 in the race overall. Scuderia Nicky Iron Links team then, who engineered Doriane Penn's car. We were inside their garage just for a moment, and here is the race-leading Doriane Penn for Scuderia Nicky Iron Links. So car number 2 exceeding track limits at turn 18. That is the final warning for Ange Bardi, which you can see on your screen. So we are live from Silverstone with Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli in the European Series, their race 2 of the weekend. The FML D2P driver, John Wartig, who is chasing down Luca Nurmi. Now, John Wartig, if he can push Luca Nurmi into making a mistake, and Luca Nurmi runs wide, exceeds the track limits, John Wartig can almost get the race direction team to do his overtake for him, as Lucky Kira and David Gostner do battle here. My goodness me, David Gostner has really got some pace, Nico, because Lucky Kira, having got past Omar Jackson, so then too did David Gostner. And within the space of just a couple of laps, David Gostner is right on the back of Lucky Kira.
Yeah, good showing from David Gostner. Lucky Kira steadfast in defending. Good defensive driving also from David Gostner to avoid a collision, because it really could have happened there. So good and respectful driving from both of them. Marco Pulcini, he is really steadfast. Keeps the gap just big enough so Angibardi can't launch an attack for sure. But it's 12.5 minutes remaining, plus maybe a lap. So Ange, I think he will go for that move late in the race. And there is David Gostner on the inside, and I think that is potentially job done, because he will have the better line now. Or does he?
Lucky Kira, of course, probably benefits from better track knowledge than David Gostner. And he knew just how to be able to, I mean, he's having to defend. David Gostner is so quick, Nico.
Yeah, David Gostner really showing his ability and his prowess in this race. It is the battle for P4 currently, and the podium is not that far away. So whoever emerges from that battle, and if it's David Gostner, there's going to be 10 more minutes plus potentially to go and try to do something. The red car we just see coming through shot, that is currently P3. That is Angelo Fontana, and that is the 25 car of Alessandro Cozzi having gone around. Good thing he's got it back, pointing back in the right direction.
Nico. With regards to the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli AM Championship, as we look at David Gostner now, and this in replay, when he dived to the inside of Lucky Kira and had to take avoiding action over the curbs. The reason I've crossed to you is you've got your eyes all across the... oh, that was a bold move from David, which was never going to pay off. You've got your eyes across all the documentation that's being fed through to us. And what's the latest information?
Let's just stay with this scene for a moment, because they're touching again. David Gostner really trying to make it happen, even when there is no gap, and they have to be really careful, because that can go wrong for both of them. Yes, Angibardi has been given that 5-second time penalty that we were talking about. That means even though he's only half a second on the track behind Marco Pulcini, he's actually 5.5 seconds behind now. And that means even though he is getting really close for the first time now, it would count for nothing unless he can extend his lead, get by and extend the lead to 5 seconds. I think Marco Pulcini will be wise of that. His team will have advised him, and if Angibardi will launch an attack, I think Marco Pulcini will just let him by, rather than close the door too ferociously.
And now Lucky Kira has picked up a time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage, so he picks up a 5-second time penalty. So David Gostner is really pushing Lucky Kira, and Lucky Kira now effectively on track whilst he stays ahead of David Gostner. Actually, he falls behind him when it comes to the results at the end of the race.
Indeed, as you just saw on the graphic, also Alessandro Cozzi has picked up a time penalty, so those penalties amassed, and now David Gostner has gone by Lucky Kira on the track. Probably another case of the team telling their driver that actually no point defending, don't ruin your race, just let him go. And that means David Gostner, also on track, has been elevated to P4, and he will be looking for that podium. I don't know when he podiumed the last time. He certainly has a number of podiums and race wins in his career.
What? You don't know that?
No, absolutely
Your
not.
encyclopedic knowledge of the Ferrari Challenge has failed you? I have never known that.
I'm drawing a blank on that. I'm sure we will find out. But there is John Wartig. Is he going to catch Luca Nurmi? Gap is getting closer. Luca Nurmi also has received a final warning. No penalty yet. It's 8.5 minutes remaining. That could still heat up.
As Glenn Frey would say, the heat is on. Doriane Penn is extending her lead, but not in the dramatic fashion she has done in previous races. Is up to 4.873 now over Luca Nurmi, who we can see into shot now in the number 66 car, being chased down by John Ortigue. There's John Ortigue then. And then it's Marco Pulcini ahead of Ange Bardi and Angelo Fontana. And Nico has predicted that David Gosler will be able to get on terms with Angelo Fontana, because there is just about a second between them, and we've got 7 3/4 minutes remaining. So it's every good chance here that David Gosler could try and pull off a podium. Meantime, Luca Nurmi and John Ortigue arguing over the P2 place in Trofeo Pirelli. It's almost impossible, as we see Lucky Kira has pulled off into the pit lane, Nico. Thanks for pointing that out. So Lucky Kira deciding that he needs perhaps a little bit of a rest before he gets into the car for the final race of the Trofeo Pirelli UK Series. And that follows this race here at Silverstone. There's Doriane Penn crossing the timing line with just over 7 minutes of the race remaining. So what I'm interested in is the gap between Marco Pulcini and Ange Bardi, and even more importantly, the gap between Angelo Fontana and David Gosler in the fight for the final podium place in Trofeo Pirelli AM, because that could hot up really rather nicely, I would suggest. So from our commentary studio here up high in the Silverstone Wing complex, we can see the cars as they cross the line, and they're all gapped out really rather significantly. And looking at our track map animation as well, that bears testament to that. David Gosler is within sight of Angelo Fontana. Also within sight of Luca Nurmi here is John Ortigue. John Ortigue flashing his lights, trying to get the young Finn just to lose his concentration, as Alessandro Cozzi in car number 25 picks up a drive-through penalty for track limits, Nico. That's the severest of severe penalties, isn't it, for track limits?
Pretty much, yes. He was given a 5-second penalty. That, I think, has been transformed into a drive-through penalty, probably because he's continued to run afoul with what the stewards deem to be acceptable in terms of track limit stretching. And another time penalty for Omar Jackson. So where yesterday it was very clean and we hardly saw any messages on track limits, that has changed today. And as you said, John Ortigue, he's really pushing the pressure, putting the pressure on Luca Nurmi, who is on his final warning. So as you pointed out, there is 2 ways for John Ortigue to get this done. It's
yes.
Within race control or on the track.
Now, knowing John as we know John, he would want to do the overtake on the track. He wouldn't want to get race control to do it for him. I would say. We will see. Of course, as a consequence, if he happened to, you know, he's not going to not accept it, is he?
No, no, definitely not. And if his pressure is the reason for the penalty, fair play to him. But indeed, and there is still the battle between Marco Pulcini against Ange Bardi. Now, it doesn't have the same cachet as it had previously by virtue of the 5-second penalty, but that can still change.
What I'd really like to see is Angelo Fontana and David Gosler as now
Ange Bardi has also picked up a drive-through penalty as an escalation to his earlier penalty. So
he will be livid. He will be utterly livid, Nico.
And with 4 minutes and 10 seconds remaining, and they having just started the lap, that may mean that he won't need to take it during the race, and it could be transformed into a 30-second penalty after the race. That's generally how it is done if it comes so late that the driver doesn't have the 3 laps remaining that he's generally allowed to use for taking the penalty. It's then a question, is the drive-through penalty or a 30-second penalty less severe? That's something that maybe the team has to calculate. But that certainly means that's the end of any championship being sealed today is for Ange Bardi. Wow.
Lots and lots and lots of drama in this race then in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. So Ange Bardi then picking up a drive-through penalty. As Nico says, a drive-through penalty has to be taken within 3 laps of it being awarded. and probably Ange will get away just with taking all of the laps available to him on track and banking a 30-second time penalty, which, to my mind, is always less disadvantageous than a drive-through.
That is true, although with Silverstone that you avoid the last chicane,
Fair
you actually
point.
shortcut a little bit, so it feels a little bit less severe than on other circuits.
Fair point.
Final warning for David Gostner, who is running in P3. Now, he will hope that this being almost the penultimate lap will save him.
So at some point, David Gostner did get by Angelo Fontana.
Indeed, yes.
And we didn't see that. I don't think I missed it, did
No,
I?
I don't think so, but hopefully we will get a replay of that.
So spectators looking on then at what has been, despite the fact all the cars have been gapped significantly, there has been quite some drama. And there is Luca Nurmi and John Wartigue fighting over the P2 place, although the fight has not intensified. If anything, it's reduced somewhat, as Luca Nurmi, hopefully keeping it within the white lines and keeping it on the tarmac, and won't pick up any further penalty. He's been warned and warned and warned again. Doriane Penn, meantime, 5 seconds up the road, certainly not as dominant as previous performances from the young Doriane Penn, but she's done enough, and here's Ange Bard and Marco Pulcini, irrespective of the drive-through penalty or time penalty, as they go absolutely side by side onto the national pit straight here. Marco Pulcini on the outside, Ange Bardi to the inside, carrying so much speed through that Copse turn. Absolutely wonderful racing between the two of them. Marco Pulcini, I have to say, Nico, has been breathtakingly great in this race. When you've got the pressure of Ange Bardi right behind you, Ange nearly lost the back end of the car there, but held on to it beautifully. We have just 1 minute of this race remaining. Wow, what a race.
Indeed, and David Gostner, or rather the gap between Ange Bardi and David Gostner has just exceeded 30 seconds, so that means Ange Bardi might not even lose a place if that 30-second penalty is applied, so he would still, currently as it stands, retain that second place. Wow, unless...
No, is that an additional penalty? Because what we're seeing on our screens is...
he has come into the pits. Just saw that he dialed out, and there he is coming into the pits. Now it's interesting. The drive-through penalty is just taking. It's also been indicated a 25-second penalty if that is on top.
Is that in addition? He hasn't been that wayward, has he?
We didn't see anything to indicate that, but we will surely find out.
Well, we're on the final lap. Goodness me. Doriane Penn then, on the national pit straight. As I say, Nico, she's not had the gap of dominance that she's had in previous races. I don't know whether that's just she fancied a rest this afternoon.
Well, but he's still 4.8 seconds, which is still a very, very clear and significant advantage over Luca Nurmi. And the fact that we're saying that is actually not a lot is actually a very, very proud statement to her ability and to her track record. Luca Nurmi is just half a lap remaining to hold John Wartigue behind him and to stay within the white lines. And he's done that thus far.
There's Doriane Penn. It's hotting up with Luca Nurmi and John Wartigue behind them. John Wartigue was very nearly pushing Luca Nurmi when I saw that shot previous to this one, but of course we stay with this because Doriane Penn then is heading towards... Oh, and John Wartigue does go through on Luca Nurmi. I said it looked closer. So here is Doriane Penn to take yet another win. Congratulations, Doriane. Here comes John Wartigue ahead of Luca Nurmi on track. So P2 on track for John Wartigue and P3 for Luca Nurmi. And Marco Pulcini, it's been a brilliant drive from Marco Pulcini. He takes P1 in Trofeo Pirelli Am. And he is heading towards the timing line and the checkered flag that is being waved ferociously by the starter here at Silverstone this afternoon. Marco Pulcini victorious in Trofeo Pirelli Am. And of course, the next car I think that we're going to see on track is going to be the car of David Gosner. And there is Doriane Penn celebrating for Scuderia Nikki Iron Lynx in her really rather lovely way of waving her hand from the window at the amassed spectators, and also for the marshals with whom, of course, we wouldn't be able to go racing were it not for their voluntary efforts every weekend at motorsport venues around the world. So we are grateful to them. Sure enough, David Gosner crosses the line, and Angelo Fontana is going to take P3, which I think is going to be his first podium. It's got to be, hasn't it?
Indeed, and we can confirm that the Angie Barty 25-second penalty was indeed on top of the drive-through penalty, which drops him from P2 on the track, where he crossed the finish line, all the way down to P5 in class.
Dear.
Matching his worst season result.
Dear. I'm scheduled to have a cup of tea with Orange.
Well,
I think I'm maybe not going to now.
I'm sure
I might be busy.
I'm sure he will be fine. I mean, I'm sure he will be a little bit frustrated with that result, but keeping it all in perspective, all he needs is about 10 points from the rest of the season. There is the move that you said was going to happen, and this could have gone very wrong, but Luca Nomi very, very careful, avoiding the collision, didn't turn in on John Botica, really made a late lunge into that turn, and was rewarded with P2 in the race. So it all came down to the final few turns.
It's best finish also for Andrew Gilbert, taking P4. Here's confirmation of the classification then. Doriane Penn takes another win, and John Botica takes P2 yet again, and Luca Nurmi is P3. There's sort of a familiar ring about the results in terms of Trofeo Pirelli, but for Trofeo Pirelli Am, it's all jumbled around, because Marco Pulcini takes the win from David Gosner and Angelo Fontana. Then it's Andrew Gilbert and Ange Bard. After all the penalties have been applied to him, he takes P5. Then it's Omar Jackson, Alessandro Cozzi, and then NCs for Lucky Kerr and Nicolo Rossi, Arno Dahlmeier and Jack Brown, who didn't manage to start, Nico.
Yeah, sad that we didn't see him, especially after his great performance on his comeback, but that was an interesting race, start to finish.
Was.
Unfortunately, some of it brought about by penalties, but it certainly provided plenty of drama with the overtakes at the beginning, in the middle, and all the way at the end, with John Botica snatching that P2 from the young Finn Luca Nomi. I think he'll be a little bit furious with himself, but equally good on him to avoid the collision and bank P3. Yeah, Doriane Penn continues her successful ways. Marco Pulcini,
He's happy with that for Altea Motors, isn't he? Oh, steady how you jump down off there. And there's his driver coach, Matteo Cressoni. Not a bad peddler himself. He offers congratulations. Here comes a slightly less celebrating Luca Nurmi.
yeah, you know, he knows that that P2 was his actually, but it's a difficult situation in that moment, because if you close the door, you're probably going to be out of the race, and
Yeah, you're better off banking a P3 than being out of the race, aren't you?
yeah.
So
Good.
well done. Oh, great. I mean, David Gosner didn't start the race yesterday.
Yeah,
He showed extraordinary pace today.
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, and the Gosner family are enjoying David's success there. Manuela Gosner, David Gosner, and Corinna Gosner, and Thomas Gosner. And Massimo Pepe as well. Okay, let's take a look at the highlights now of Trofeo Pirelli Race 2. Those were the highlights. Here are the race statistics. Best progress by far and away from David Gosner. Elevated himself 9 places, as you can see. And the top speeds came from Ange Bardi, 258.4 kilometers per hour in Trofeo Pirelli. And John Wartique for Trofeo Pirelli. We're going to be heading up to the podium next.
Pirelli main class,
and here is Michele Mambelli to bring us the podium. Luca Nurmi, then we see he puts the glasses on.
The podium from Belgium, John Wartique.
Here's John Wartique.
And from France, the winner is Doriane Penn.
And Doriane Penn then on the top step of the podium.
National anthem. Luca Nurmi, Jean Wartique, Doriane Penn. The trophy are presented by James Calado, official GT driver, Ferrari. The trophy for Luca Nurmi.
So Luca Nurmi receives his from James Calado then.
John Wartique, James Calado.
With his trophy. Doriane Penn doesn't have a mantelpiece, you know. It's a container truck trailer full of trophies, I would suggest, Nico.
She certainly can use it with all the silver and hardware that she has received this season.
You're not kidding. All trophies presented then.
And rise your trophy and
as opposed to rise your trophy, could you lift your trophy? Thank you. Luca Nurmi then takes P3. Well, last dash effort for John Wartique. It secured him P2 for FML D2P. And for Scuderia Nicky Iron Links, it's Doriane Penn, victorious again.
Angelo Fontana from Venezuela.
Here comes the Trofeo Pirelli AM podium. It's very quick work, Michele.
Second driver on the
Angelo
podium.
Fontana,
Welcome
debut
back,
podium, P3.
David Gosner.
David Gosner. It's been a long time, Nico, since we've seen David Gosner on the podium. A welcome return.
Yeah, absolutely great to have him back.
Marco Pulcini.
And Marco Pulcini on the top step of the podium.
National anthem.
And the national anthem plays out.
Your claps for the winners, the trophy.
So the 30-second abbreviated mix of the Italian national anthem played out for Marco Pulcini. James Collado once again making the trophy presentation. Angelo Fontana then receives his P3 trophy. Stand by, David Gosner then. He receives his P2 trophy from James Collado, the official Ferrari Competizione GT driver.
First winner trophy, Marco Pulcini.
And Marco Pulcini taking his race winner's trophy.
Lucio Vergani gives to Marco Pulcini the Pirelli trophy.
There's
Lucio
Luca
Vergani,
then making the
Pirelli
Pirelli
Motorsport
trophy
manager.
presentation for Pirelli Motorsport.
All together now, drivers of the first.
So the top three in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli AM. Angelo Fontana for Rosso Corsa takes P3. For the MP Racing team, we will see the car of David Gosner. And there it is, taking P2. And P1 for Marco Pulcini, driving for Altea Motors. In terms of Drivers' Championship points, Doriane Penn now 39 points ahead of John Ortigue. And Luca Nurmi is P3 in the Drivers' Championship points on 107. Then you can see the rest of the order for Trofeo Pirelli. We'll bring you the Trofeo Pirelli AM points. Here they are. Ange Bardi on 150. He could have sealed it today, but he didn't. Marco Pulcini now P2 in the Drivers' Championship points, with Nicola Rossi unfortunately not finishing that race, but still P3 in the Drivers' Championship for Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. And the rest of the points orders, you can see the second page of the Drivers' Championship points. From Nico and myself, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye for now.